You have been colonizing wrong, and that's okay, because I've been colonizing wrong plenty too before I find out about two amazing tools that help me colonize right. The initial tool that helped me colonize right is Commander Daftmap's amazing spreadsheet, which laid the foundation of how to properly plan for systems. And the next and a natural evolution of that tool is Commander Grinning 2001's absolutely amazing and best kept secret tool of Elite Dangerous, the website known as Raven Colonial, which is what we will be talking about today, and which, coupled with the Elite Dangerous Colonization Mega Guide, which now spans over 100 pages, is the interactive solution that advanced system architects universally use, and I myself has personally been using to architect two major systems, one over 100 points and another at almost 400 points, in order to not make the common mistakes that you would otherwise be inevitably making. Today, joining me, we have the man himself, Commander Grinning 2001, the creator and maintainer of Raven Colonial. Commander Grinning 2001, thank you for joining me today, and thank you, more importantly, for creating the amazing tool that Raven Colonial is.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, Raven Colonial, the best kept secret among the Elite Dangerous community, although not so secret anymore. If you look at the number of active users, it looks like you have something in the range of almost 4,000 commanders that have been using Raven Colonial to date.
That's right. And there's actually an unpublished statistic of how much stuff has been hauled. And just in the last 24 hours, we've crossed the 500 million mark, which means people have moved 500 million units of stuff through Raven Colonial. It blows my mind.
That's crazy. I think it's almost like 10% of the total haulage of all the game, if I remember some of the recent Frontier development statistics that is shown on stream not too long ago. But I mean, I am confident that we can get that number from 10% to 90% if we show the broader community at large just how amazing what you have built is. So why don't we try to do that? I think one of the things that commanders who have been using Raven Colonial have told me is that they would appreciate somewhat more of a tutorial of how to actually use it. So I was going to ask you if you wouldn't mind sort of pretending that I'm a little bit of a new user to all of this, and maybe you could help me and guide me through how it all works.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, then let's roll. So first things first. Normally, I think whenever you kind of use one of these solutions, you would normally think about the first thing is logging in. But before even that, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to hit this nice themes button and switch from your default light blue theme to a dark blue one, because light mode hurts my eyes. So I'm going to switch to that. I think you have a really nice orange dark as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with dark blue. I know this is a personal preference, but it makes things more tolerable in my overall.
It's just much nicer on the eyes.
Yeah, for sure. So then to proper functionality, I think the next step, I believe, is to log in. That allows you to make the whole magic of it work. So here, basically, you see a view where you type in your Frontier credentials and you set a number of things like large and medium ship capacity, and you can even link fleet carriers, it seems. How does this all work?
So when you do the login, you're actually logging in through Frontier's own servers. And what it means is that my website is able to access information directly from Frontier in much the same way as Inara does and other websites we like to use. Where it is really helpful is it lets me directly access the cargo contents of your fleet carrier and other information, and I can even get a squadron fleet carriers. And having a button you can push to just pull all the cargo contents directly is super handy once we get into building stuff.
Sounds just like magic. So let's see some of that magic in action. Let's move to the system view next from here.
Alrighty.
All right, on to architecting a system, or rather, I think before we can architect a system, we probably need to select one in the first place. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into how to think about choosing a system to colonize, and that might be a little bit beyond the point of this particular guide. But I went ahead and selected a system nearby, my sort of main system if you want, which I thought looked cool because it had a mini gas giant, like the smallest gas giant I have ever seen. I'm not sure what to do with the system, actually, to be honest. I kind of just looked like this little gas giant, and so I decided to claim this system. I dropped a beacon. I selected the primary port, which is a little tiny outpost, and this is the system. What do I do from here? Where do I go?
So once you've chosen your system, you want to grab the name, and then you want to do a search for that on the website.
Okay, so I copied the name. Your image is right on top of a copy name button, so people can't see it right now. But trust me, there's a copy name button down there somewhere. And having copied your name, I can bring up Raven Colonial. I go under the system view. I type a system name, which I didn't copy correctly because I copied the name of the colonization strip instead. Shame on me. So let me go back and actually copy the proper system name. I think we can do that by kind of clicking on the star or something and then punching in this whole thing. And I think I found it. All right, I have a lot of colored balls in front of me. What's going on? What is this thing? What am I supposed to do now?
So when you first visit a system, it might say importing for just a moment, and what it's doing is it's pulling information about the system from Spanch. So if the system's fully discovered, everything will be there. And it's basically where in the game we get a horizontal view of all the planets. I've made it be a vertical view so that once we have station names, it all fits more nicely. Something I really wanted for us to be able to have is the slot counts, because that's an important decision as to when you're planning what to put where. But as the game doesn't give that to us automatically, there is no other magic than just clicking a button with the red question marks. And when you click one of those, the little thing pops up and you can choose how many slots are for each one.
And by the way, I think we're close to figuring out the formulas that automatically select the number of slots per planet, right?
Yeah, so once that's available, I shall plug it in. I will make it be obvious that it's a predicted count rather than the actual count, but it should at least reduce the amount of clicking that needs to be done.
That's great. But there's a little bit of manual work I understand. So basically, if I look at my system back in game, my star has 2 slots, and then the asteroid belt has 1, and then each like the planets have anywhere between 1, 3, and 2. But I kind of need to configure these in Raven Colonial, right? I need to carry this data over. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's start doing it. So we said the star has 2 orbital slots. The belt has 1. And then I completely lost count of how many the planets have. The planets have 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. And then 2 and 3 for both of those. So orbital 1, 2, and then this we said had each 2 space and 3 ground. And we're not going to do this for everything, but we're going to do this on a selective basis just to kind of give it a little bit of a demo. We said 2 ground and 1 space and 3 ground and 1 space, and the water world has, I believe, just 2 space.
It's the kind of thing that in reality it takes like 3 or 4 minutes total, but it's a one-time thing and then it's done.
Okay. And then I hit save, right?
That's right.
All right, I got save. But I noticed that there's something missing here. It still says that there's no system architect assigned to this. How do I assign a system architect? How do I tell you that I'm the architect of this system and that I'm the one that's basically designing?
There's all sorts of goodies up in that toolbar, but the one we need here is the icon with the pencil. And that lets you set the commander who is the architect, and lets you set the reserve level, but pretty much just everything is pristine.
That's right, because everything outside of the bubble is mostly untouched. So I'm going to punch my name, Commander Mechan here, save it, and now I am recognized as a system architect. I see there's also a population with a question mark and a chart next to it. What does that do?
So once you've started building things, some people are very interested in knowing what is the population over time. So this is basically gives you a graph of population over time. It's not automatic. You have to push that update button, but every time you do push that button, it will record what is the population at that point. And as the days and weeks go by, you can see a pretty graph trending up of, you go build another T3 something, and millions of people will live and move in your system.
And that's pretty meaningful because, by the way, population, in addition to affecting how difficult it is to move the background simulation sliders through different activities, also translate to production, as if our formulas are correct. And our formulas are correct. Population and production are related, as in with the growth of population, production also scales with the square root of population. So systems that have significantly higher population, or rather stations that have significantly higher population, as this is on a station-by-station basis, also will have meaningful more production, which is why I guess people care about population in the first place. All right, so let's switch gears. Okay, now we've kind of done some initial setup, and let's see how we can actually use to architect the system, shall we?
Okay.
Okay, so we've got everything configured here. What do we do now?
Well, you start off by building a primary port. Now, we don't get to pick where that goes, so you just have to see where that is in the game, and then hit the plus button on that body, and then choose what you're going to put there.
That's a good point. So let's go and see. Let's see. In game, we have our body 10B in a space slot. We have, I believe I put, what did I put here? I think I placed definitely tier 1 outpost. I believe it was commercial. We can always change it later, I presume. So let's bring this back up. We said this is 10B. And I add things by pressing the plus button, right? And here we go. I'm going to add an orbital commercial outpost of type Plutus, which is the only type, and it automatically assigns a name to it, right? And sets it as planning in terms of status.
Right. So if you haven't yet started building a thing, or you're just planning out the system, yeah, it'll auto-generate names just so you can refer to them by something.
Very convenient. And then I believe I can probably rename it by copying and pasting the name of the station, assuming that this one is System Colonization Current Gateway something.
You
so
could,
it doesn't really work, but eventually it'll work.
So there's actually a much nicer way where the names are, the game will give them to us. It's one of the things where once you've signed in, I can pull certain information from the Frontier APIs. So if you have landed at that place, then there's a button on that little pop-up you just had that says like docked, build it. So if you are docked there and you push that button, I can just scoop up all the information directly from the game about that thing that you're building.
So I am docked. Let's try it and see what happens. I have to say build it, right? There's a build it thing, something.
That's right.
Somewhere. All right, docked, build it. I am docked here, yes. And it's pulling the data. Ta-da! It shows it building a primary port commercial outpost. Primary port. Very nice. And it's changed the status to under construction. Very fancy. And now I have an active build in the system that's basically tied to all the stuff that I still have to haul to get this constructed, another 5,000 tons. Does Raven Colonial haul for you too? By the way, Grinning, is that a feature? Can we include a feature request that this also haul things on your behalf?
I wish it did. It does not. But there's the SCCN guys who they are a great hauling platform, fantastic guys. And just in this week, they've added an ability where when you use their system to put out a contract, you can tell them the name of the system and they will pull from Raven Colonial, so you haven't got to key in what's needed. It just pulls it all automatically.
The SCCN guys are amazing. They're one of the communities that handle freight contracts on behalf of system architects. But there's also freight. There's also a number of others, and I mention them so that people don't say favoritisms of saying, why do you mention these guys and not these other guys and me and not you? So anyway, there's a number of like great people doing hauling and freight work. And they pay very well. So like if you're into it for credits, like something that you want to explore. So site commercial aside for SCCN, Freight, and the Co. So we kind of now built a commercial outpost. And it's all looking yellow. What happened? Why is my commercial outpost gone all yellow? What does that mean?
The yellow is, within the game, they have attributed colors to certain industries, and yellow is industrial. If it was extraction, it would be red. If it was high tech, it would be blue. You're just matching the colors that the game will put. Yeah.
So for example, if I built, let's say, something like a relay, which is high tech, it would make it somewhat blue. There you go. It went somewhat blue. That's so convenient and nice. And I guess this is something you dynamically compute based on everything, right? The planet, the modifiers, the weak links, the strong links, the connection between port and space. It sounds really complicated.
It is very complicated, and I'll be honest, I certainly didn't figure it out by myself. I had lots of help and assistance. But there's lots of factors. It's primarily the body. It's anything else on the body, be it in orbit or on the ground. I mean, those are the strong links, and then the weak links are things on any other body. To help people start with planning, well, I guess I should say first, ports have their economies, and if you hit the pin button just to the right of each name, you can get more information about the thing that we're looking at, and then it tells you like the predicted economy. So it's industrial 140 and high tech 40.
That is so cool. I love the pin button. So one thing that happened when I clicked the I am docked to build it was the status of the facility also changed. Can you tell me a little bit about planning, building, complete? What are these three status options? What do they mean? And what can we do with them?
So the page we're looking at here is primarily about the system and planning what it is you want to build. And obviously things you haven't built yet, you're planning to build them. And there are things which are in progress and things that are done. Some people might start coming to use Raven Colonial and they've already built, a dozen things. So there needs to be a way to describe this stuff exists, this stuff doesn't exist, and you can use the status to track where they are in that kind of life cycle.
So for example, let's say that I complete my port, I can set it to complete, and that's gonna change its color, it becomes blue, and then I think I can toggle this incomplete versus complete sort of beaker button, and that's gonna show me different statistics and different setups. Basically, it's gonna give me an image of what's currently built versus what is planned, if I understand it correctly.
That's right. In the top right corner, I try to show what are the aggregate counts of all the various attributes a build will give us, and it makes a difference whether it's built or not. And some people want to see how it is today. Some people want to see how will it be when I've built everything. So there's that chemical beaker button that you can use to toggle between when I do the calculations, should I include stuff that is finished or not? Now, some of the things you build, especially if you're building lots of T3 or T2 ports, the build order is very important because the points will escalate when there's that points tax. And other times you can't build things before other things. Like you can't build a tourist settlement before you've built, I think it's a satellite. So when you use that build order button, and actually you can see the similar thing. As we're looking here, you see there's those little yellow triangles. They are telling you that the thing you're trying to build is not valid yet.
Okay, very interesting. And so this basically lists out the requirements that you have, and it tells you also what it kind of unlocks after you build it. Because colonization is not complicated enough already. And by the way, the colonization, as you can tell, is a very complicated topic, and Raven Colonial does an amazing job at simplifying all, if not all, at least the vast majority of the nuances of it all to allow you to play with something that actually works. If you want to know more about the specifics and the details, there's the Elite Dangerous Colonization Mega Guide, which is, last time I checked, only about 110 pages. So if you want to know all the details, you can go and read the Colonization Mega Guide, which effectively we're now co-developing with Raven Colonial, as Raven Colonial and the team at Grinning has put together, learns new things, they make it in here. As we learn new things and put them into Guide, they feed them into Raven Colonial. So there's a little bit of a co-development happening, which is a good thing, because that's what communities do. They work together to figure things out and make people's lives easier. At least we try. Okay, so we talked about requirements, we talked about prerequisites of installation. Let's chat a little bit about build points. What is this sort of orange box and this green bunch of boxes? that you have, what do they mean and what do I do with them?
They represent the same thing we see in the game. I didn't have an icon that exactly matched, but they're kind of similar. So in the game we have like a yellow little stack and we have a green 3 boxes together. So the tier points are, in order to build bigger things, we need to build a bunch of small stuff first. The primary port is immune to this, thankfully, but like you can't just build an outpost and then go build an orbis. You have to build up to it. So the website tracks how many build points will you get from what you have already built. But the game has enforced the 2 tiers, so the little things give you tier 2 points, and then you build tier 2 things, and they give you tier 3 things. And I wish the game had given it a better name, but that's how it is. But the website tracks that and shows you what you've got live. But that button near the top that says order becomes very, very helpful at a time like this, because it shows you the linear list of everything you are planning to build, and it gives you the total number at the bottom and shows you who's giving you what, like who's adding tier 2 points, who's taking away tier 2 points, and it's a draggable thing, so you can choose the order in which things are going to go. And this also helps with like those prerequisites where the tourist settlement that needs a satellite, it'll give you a little yellow triangle showing you can't build a tourist settlement yet, and you click the little triangle and it will tell you go build a satellite. And if you switch the order, drag them around on that list, then the yellow goes white.
So let's try and build a Coriolis around this water world. I like water worlds because they make for fantastic agricultural production hubs. Orbital, Coriolis, and by the way, do not build noob hammer Coriolis. Like, don't do it. You're gonna regret it. So no trust Coriolis. Let's assume we've done all the kind of like work there, and all right, we have a Coriolis here, and now I can see, like, if I click on built, I'm in the negative in tier points, right? So if I go to the build over, it's kind of like telling me, hey, red, something's wrong, right? You're trying to build something that you don't have the points for. And then if I try and put, for example, you were talking about satellites, so let's put up a satellite and orbit of this planet for the sake of argument. Where are satellites? There you go. Of the different type. In the order, I have it, since I put it after a Coriolis, it's basically still saying the total is fine, but there's a red number here because you're trying to build a Coriolis before you've actually gotten the points to build it. So I have to drag this up, and then everything will be good and fine, it seems. I can build my nice and pretty Coriolis in front of a water world. But for instance, let's say that I got bored of water worlds and I have too many things around water worlds anyway, and I'd rather have my Coriolis turn into an asteroid station and place it in, instead a ringed planet like planet 11. I think I can move it by just clicking on the different planet, and here we go. So an asteroid type port is, I think, a specialized station, so it's somewhat less interesting because it doesn't pick up modifiers from the planet. But let's stick with a Coriolis for a moment. Again, no noob hammers. I put a Coriolis here, and the Coriolis is now red and yellow. But this is around an icy body. What gives? What happened? How did this one get to become yellow and red?
Let's see. Well, the economy of the station is mostly driven by the body that it's on. And I told you earlier you can click the pin. But before you place things, if you want to see like what would it be before I put something, you can click on any of the circles that are representing each of the planets, and there'll be a different pop-up that shows you like a little summary of, if you build here, here's the intrinsic economy. And then if you build more stuff, it gives you the strong links. Here's what will happen to every strong link you put down.
This is unbelievable, man. This is like so convenient. And I know since we were part of it, how much effort has gone into ensuring that this is all correct and kind of validated. Especially since some of this stuff doesn't actually work how it's documented. Like, for example, the terraformable modifier doesn't work with agriculture and a set of other those beautiful things. So you've effectively replicated the bugs in Raven Colonial 2, right? So, like, if it's bugged in the game, it's equally bugged in Raven Colonial 2. Is that right?
I try to match. I'm not always exactly up to date, but yes, when there's evidence that says this is how it works, then I tweak the code to make it match.
Amazing. Okay, so we talked about building, we talked about in construction, and up here we can see the total orbital slots and the total surface slots and how many are used, and we hit save, and there's a number of other views. I see like the map view and this sort of like economy ratio, market links, and like. Tell me what else can we do as far as the different views are concerned.
So the table view, that button that says map right now, if you've built lots of stuff and you just need to do the data entry and key stuff in, it's just a bit of an easier way to do that. It lets you do sorting by the type of the thing or the status or the name. So if you want to see like what's everything on body 5 or what's everything that's in planning, the column titles here are clickable, and it will adjust things. It's just a different view of the map, but the map is, I like the map. It was fun to build and it's fun to look at.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And what if I make a mistake? What if I for instance, placed this Coriolis and I was like, oh no, I moved it by mistake. What do I do now?
So you have the simplest thing. There is no like immediate undo. You can't press Control Z or anything like that. But the button that says load, there's a little down-facing arrow. If you do that guy, I keep the last 5 edits you did. So if you're like, you know what, 10 minutes ago it was correct, you can just load the 2 prior. Like right now you're at revision number 10, you can reload revision number 8 or 7, and you have to hit save because it doesn't commit it, but you can at least open them up and see like, what was I doing then? And you can backtrack a little.
That is amazing.
If you're really paranoid, on the pencil icon, there's 2 options for download and restore that basically puts a file on your PC. So if you say like, I love it, this is how it should be, then you can snapshot it and keep it forever.
And what is this button, edit, open, or secured? What does it do?
It's just a basic security mechanism where once you have started colonizing a system, it just means that you're the only person who can make changes. Anyone can view any system, anyone can make edits on the page, but once the architect is set, only the architect can hit save.
So for example, if I wanted to invite my friends in the Xenostrike Force or Anti-Xeno Initiative to correct all the mistakes that I will inevitably make in architecting my next system, I could switch this to open and then send them the link to Raven Colonial, and that would let them collaborate with me on the system itself. And I could still kind of load back into prior revisions if I decided to sort of, that I didn't like the corrections they made to my mistakes. Is that how it works?
That is exactly right.
That's amazing. And then you also have view on Inara and view on Spanch links. What do those do?
They just open them on the other websites. These are great websites that have lots of prior information about all sorts of things, and rather than having to like copy the name, go over there, paste it and search, it's just the owners of those websites made it easy for us to link into them, so I made that available.
That's also very convenient. All right, so we've architected something. We have a general idea of how we're going to build up a beautiful system with that pocket gas giant, which I found earlier today. How do we go about building it?
So once you're building it, you'd start by clicking the build button up top. And once you've got any build projects on the go, you'll see a table like this, which is showing like for all the things that Mechan is building, this is what you need to haul. On the right-hand side, it shows per system all the particular builds you're doing, and if you've got lots and you want to focus on 2, there's checkboxes so you can toggle things on and off. But this is like an aggregate view. You can also click on, like if you click on primary port, it will show you just what you need to do for this particular project. If you're working with teams, you can add commanders, and you just pick a name on the right-hand side, and you could like do like one commander. So you could say add Grinning or anyone else you know. You can add fleet carriers.
So if I add you here, for example, you are basically going to haul for me, right, and complete the system. That's what happens.
Well, it means that when I log in as me, I see the same thing, and I can haul for you if I want to. I might not, but at least I know about it.
Okay. Too bad. Is there a feature request that I can also make people haul for you while you're at it?
I would love that. It wouldn't be nice.
And then you can link fleet carriers, right? For example,
Yeah.
like N squadron carriers are also included here. So that kind of shows what, actually I have these things on board. It's pretty cool. I didn't know I had them on board. Interesting. Maybe I should go get them off my carrier.
So if you, above the list of cargo items, there's a fleet carrier icon. This is telling you this is what's on the fleet carrier. And if you're, if we put in my fleet carrier, it shows what I have. And the goal here is to tell you, do you have enough stuff already? Because oftentimes you need to load up the fleet carrier with everything. You load it up and then you unload it. So we've got the big green and yellow bubbles telling you, like, for food cartridges, you are short by 2. You need to put 2 more on your fleet carrier. But for ceramic composites, you have an excess of 13. You are all good.
That is amazingly helpful, especially if you're building outposts that are pretty far out of the bubble, to make sure that you have everything on board before you actually get your fleet carrier moving. Super
my
handy.
favorite feature by far is the shopping cart icon that's just above the word need.
Okay,
this
I pressed
basically
on it. What does it
gives
do?
you a good shopping list. It tells you everything that's nearby that has. Basically, it does a search on Spanch for which stations have what you need for this particular project within a certain distance and a certain landing pad size and all that. When you hit the search
Let's
button,
see where I can go and grab this stuff. Search.
it takes a bit to get it all, but this is intentionally very interactive. Where if you click on the bubbles, it tells you who has that. So if you click on food cartridges, then all of these ports have food cartridges. But if you say unclick that and click water purifiers, only some of those have that. If you expand out, say Kirk Gateway or any of the ones that have that highlight, I then tell you, like, of the stuff you need, this is how much they have. Where the counts along the top are how much you need, and the counts in the middle are what the station has. And as you click the bubbles again, there's a handy thing on the bottom that shows your medium ship can do 400 and your large ship could do that much. If you say CMM, you need a lot of those. But if you were to change it to say be not CMM, but click the ceramic composites bubble, then it shows you along the bottom, like, relative to a medium, you won't make it all fit. But if you now click computer composites and food cartridges, it just kind of tacks it on the end of the thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is cut off, and this sort of actual stream thing at the bottom is cut off, but I think you can experiment in game or directly on Raven Colonial and see how it works. This is another absolutely crazy, amazing, helpful thing. And you can export this stuff to Discord, of all places. Edit the project and set a Discord link. Wow, so cool.
To be organized and communicate with others who are holding.
That is wonderful. So Commander Greening 2001, I have one last question for you, which is, how much did Frontier pay you to build all of this?
It is an undisclosed amount, but I'm still waiting for the check. I'm not holding my breath.
Well, folks, I don't know if you have a chance to buy Commander Greening 2001 a coffee, or is there something like buy your coffee on about? Because, I mean,
there's a link in the very footer. It says support.
It's support. Where is it? Home, SRV survey, great. Where's support, man? You've hit on it. Like, the only feature which isn't obvious is how to support you, and in your build.
It might be below the fold. It's in the
Oh,
footer
it's on
of
the
page.
bottom. Okay, it's hidden away. Support Raven Colonial. Okay, so there's a PayPal and Patreon option. So guys, go ahead and support this guy, because he built the most amazing Colonial tool that has ever been created in the history of Elite Dangerous, and might ever be created in the history of Elite Dangerous. And even if you don't support him, if you see him in game, or if you come across him in the forums, Discord, or wherever, send him big thanks, because this was, as you can tell, an unbelievable amount of work, and just stellar work, Grinning. So thank you on my behalf, because I've been a great user of yours. In fact, after the stream, I'm gonna go and hit that support button right away, because you have earned it and deserve it. And thanks again for joining me on this little tutorial that can help people understand the power and amazingness of Raven Colonial, and hopefully helps a lot of aspiring commanders go plan and build their systems.
Thank you very much. Fun stuff.
Everybody else, thank you for following along, and glory to mankind. Commander Mechan and Commander Greening 2001, over and out.